They're the liberal rednecks. They like cornbread and butt sex. They care way too much but don't give a fuck. They're the liberal rednecks that makes some people upset, but they got 3 big old dicks that you can suck.
Indeed, we do. Here we are, everybody. Well, it's just the two of us, just me and Cho. It's sort of a POA edition of WellRED this week, if you will. Matter of fact, I think it's going to be this way for a little while because Drew's basically taking the month off to run naked through the streets of New Orleans and everything, which he told us about.
He said 6 weeks. Maybe it's more than that. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. But
yeah, he may never come back.
We wish him well.
Not just this podcast, but to the world in general. But he's down there doing Mardi Gras stuff. I reckon he sent us a video last night. He took a parade, and there was a guy on one of the parade floats dressed as a Roman soldier doing,
the Roman salute.
An Elon Musky type move. He did, yeah. Yes, and I was going to bring that up. It's like, so, he did what looked literally just like what Elon was doing, to the chest and then straight out, right? Y'all know the move I'm talking about. And I was thinking, it's like, some people say, it's like, that's not a Nazi thing. That's a Roman thing. But it's like,
but if it looks like it, don't do it.
But it's also like, does that hit? I mean, I know that they don't have the PR. I know that people think the Romans are rad, but it's like, well, yeah. Even if you're doing a Roman thing, what are you trying to represent by doing that? Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you trying to get across? Like, aqueducts really hit for you, roads really hit for you, or is it just like slavery and empire, tyranny?
Right. But it's also just like all the people who are just like, well, the swastika actually meant yoga in India. It's like, okay, but what people think when they see it, and you're comfortable them thinking that hits for you because that's what they're going to think, So just don't do it. It's like, dude, my dad, who's a goddamn Republican, like was against like the rebel, when they got rid of the rebel flag, he was like, good. And all his buddies were like, yeah, but that it doesn't really. And my dad's like, it doesn't matter all this. He's like, when a black person or when anybody sees it, this is what they think. So when you fly it, you're comfortable with the general narrative being that you support that. And that's stupid. He's like, just let it go. Like there's no reason. And that's the same thing with the fucking, it looks like a Heil Hitler.
Yeah, that's exactly what I had to land on with the Confederate flag in my youth or whatever, because growing up in fucking Clay County, I mean, I told you, I said on the podcast, whenever I went back to like clean out the house that I grew up in Salina that we then later sold, I found a truly comical amount of Confederate flag things. My favorite of which I think was a little like county fair picture in a cardboard frame of a Confederate flag background, and the foreground was an alien in a Confederate soldier uniform smoking a cigarette, which is like, what is that even supposed to be other than just like a couple things that are kick ass all for trailer people. But and it sure did work on me. I sure did love it. Because I think
you have to get rid of it with an elder wand, because I'm pretty sure that's one of DJ's Horcruxes.
I know. I definitely sent it to DJ immediately because he's got, we used to always say he was like a Confederate alien, but I also, because when I was a kid, I thought I was Goodwill Hunting and I'm smarter than everybody else and all this stuff. Like I was pretty argumentative for a long time because I had no frame of reference for realizing just how different and insane my hometown and my background and all this shit was. It's all I'd ever known.
Yeah, likewise.
So I was always just like, it's like, no, man. And because again, my dad, my dad fucked with the Confederate flag and he loved Leonard Skinner and they fucked with the Confederate flag and all this stuff. And it's like, that ain't what it's about, y'all. Like I was like, sure, some people might, but it's just hits. It's just a Southern pride. It's just a Skinner thing, whatever. It's like, it's misunderstood. And I was argumentative about that, but I don't think I was even out of my teens yet before I came to the realization. Fine. You were just saying that your dad, espoused, where it's like at a certain point you realize like, oh, all that's kind of irrelevant. But like the fact that my dad is genuinely not racist and fucked with it or whatever doesn't really
matter,
mean anything or change anything in terms of what
two things
people
can
are
be true.
Say. Right.
It's like,
well, hell,
that
it's
is
like,
true, but also if you have it, people are going to think a certain way about you, and I don't want
do
them
you
to think
want
that
them to
about
think
me.
that about you? Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's just
yes.
like the fucking Roman salute. It's like, is it worth dying on a hill of like, I'm going to do it because it technically doesn't mean that, even though to everybody that sees you do it, they just think you like Hitler.
Right. Yeah. And I was going to say it has to be, you have to be totally okay with people thinking that about you, which means that you're on board with, you know, what they think you are anyway, even
Yeah.
if you say you're not. But like, I don't know, some people really are just so stupid and contrarian and
yeah.
that type of thing, where it's just like that. I could see them telling themselves like, this doesn't mean I'm a Nazi. Really, you're the Nazi for even suggesting this means that I'm a Nazi, and like truly believing that and digging your heels in even further.
Like, it hits for them
definitely a lot
so
of people
hard
out there that are like that.
Yeah, it hits for them so hard
philosophically.
that if you call them a Nazi, they can give you this history lesson on that it's actually the Roman salute. You know, it will actually will actually pick. It's kind of like, don't get me wrong, I know that if you go by everything he said, it seems like he might, but like, I don't actually think that Kanye fucks with Hitler and is like likes all that stuff. I think he's just the ultimate contrarian, and he knows you're not supposed to.
And lunatic.
And a lunatic.
You know? Like with Kanye, especially, it's like, bro, I mean,
but he's never grown out of that. You know,
but I'm saying he is a full blown crazy person. So
yes, he needs help.
That doesn't excuse any
of course not
what he does. I'm just saying, like, I just feel like it's undeniable with him. So it's like anything he does, it's like, you know, even trying to make sense of it is folly. I think
I feel bad for true crazy people, especially with me having a mental illness. But I kind of stop feeling bad for you when you have access to all the help in the world you could get, and you just don't take it. You know what I mean? Like I don't like Steve Jobs. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, cancer sucks, and I'm not saying it wouldn't have got you anyways. But if you're trying to cure it with apples, that's what's going to happen, motherfucker. You know?
Yeah.
You know. But. Anywho's it. Did you hear what they did in St. Augustine, Florida this week?
No, I was just I was in Tampa, in Tampa and Fort Lauderdale this past weekend, but I didn't hear any scuttlebutt about the goings on in St. Augustine. I don't think.
Yeah, my friend Rebel was down there, and she told me about this thing, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then I actually just saw it on the news. They had the Florida Man games in St. Augustine.
Great idea.
Absolutely. And and she watched this whole thing, and she said it was
like
fun.
On TV? Like they,
no.
She watched it on YouTube streaming or something?
She was there. Like she was there.
Nice.
She was
Even
at
better.
like a bike week or something, and then she just like went up to St. Augustine and was doing some sort of wrestling thing, and they were like, "Hey, the Florida Man games are here," and she's like, "Oh fuck, I'll go see it." So a lot of it sounded like, you know, sort of like the Scottish Highlander shit, where it's like tests of strength and shit like that. But one of the events was evading arrest, and they had actual like off-duty cops that, you know, they came down there in their police shit, and you had to, these Florida men that were competing, there was like a starting line, and they had to go take the hubcaps off of these cars while cops were chasing them and like try to get away and shit, or the cops would like tackle and beat the shit out of them or whatever. And
so that's what's in it for the cops. I was wondering. They had to tell them, it's like, listen, if you catch them, you get to beat the shit out of them in front of everybody. And they're like, well, you know, I was going to be doing that on Saturday anyway, so might as well head down. I was gets that a massive and obvious, but still massive variable in that is the cop that in question, because like some of these cops, because like there was a video just a few days ago that Katie sent me of a in Chattanooga, your stomping grounds, by the side of the interstate, there was a ass naked middle-aged woman just wandering around. And in the video that a passerby captured, cops show up, and they don't seem to be particularly old or fat or nothing. They're just like regular sort of dumpy Chattanooga cops and whatnot. But they show up and they start chasing this middle-aged, clearly at least somewhat unwell woman,
or the only one doing good, you know?
And just failed miserably at it for much longer than it should have taken. One of them like literally did the like arms flailing, legs flying thing as he face planted into the ground on the side of the road as she does. Like you could hear Benny Hill music playing in your head as she was evading these cops. So I'm saying if those two cops in particular, were the pursuers at the Florida Man games, you're not going to get much out of that. I don't think it's going to
Trae,
heavily favor the Florida men. But if you got some like, some ex-Marine type hard ass motherfuckers who really got their dicks hard for beating somebody's ass in public, then, that'll make it more interesting.
I think you're failing to realize, Trae, that what really probably happened here is that those Chattanooga cops were just scared of being Me Too'd. You know what I mean? Because you can't even give a woman a compliment anymore. No. I don't think that these guys are going to go down there and risk their career touching an ass naked woman, knowing that people are filming it. Are you kidding me, Trae?
Yes, and
have a little bit more respect for our goddamn law enforcers.
Yes, she was white, so they couldn't just shoot her. Of
course.
Unfortunately, that would have simplified things, but. Yeah, you're right. Also, my main question, I wonder.
She said these cops, by the way, were not that in shape, because that's the first question I asked.
Yeah,
and I'd mentioned
the second question you asked is because I assume not
were
only
any of them black. Yes, that's that was my second.
I was wondering I assume not only do they not drug test, but that meth use is encouraged at the Florida games. I would think that you make them all do meth before the games start.
You don't have to make them.
Well, right. You offer them all meth. Yeah, you just set out the meth plate in the backstage in the green room of the Florida Man games and let nature take its course. But it does feel like, because at least some of them are going to be on meth, and that's an unfair advantage if they're not all on it. And it's right, and it's the Florida Man game, so it's like you really need them all to be on meth for maximum Florida manness. But anyway, go on. Well, what else? What else you know about it? What else? What other events were they?
That's essentially it, but it posed more questions than I had, which is like, number one, like when she's telling me about this, like my immediate reaction is like, that sounds fun as fuck. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I remember, and I was like, I asked her, I was like, were the cops in shape? She's like, not all of them. And then of course we went into the whole thing of like, ain't it weird that like, in order to become a cop, you've got to be in crazy shape, but like literally once you get hired, you can immediately gain 300 pounds and it's totally fine. And I'd mentioned to her that like, it was one of my bits that I did when I was in Canada, was like everything. Larry Miller used to have a bit that's like, when you go to Canada, it's like you're dreaming about America and everything's just a little bit off. And I was like, in Canada, you can start to feel like you're not in a different country until you see a bunch of in-shape cops. And that's how I knew, like, oh, okay, we're not in this country anymore. Fuck, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So like morally, that like I'm sitting there listening to her say all this, and I'm like, that sounds like fun. And I was like, I got some buddies that not only would they get all four of them fucking hubcaps, they would strip every single goddamn piece of copper out of everything around them before this fucking cop ever caught them. Like, I know it. But then I was like, I can totally see the argument probably happening in our YouTube comments right now about how this is a bad look. You know what I mean? Like,
for who? For what? For Florida?
Like, no. I mean, like fuck these, fuck the cops. Like, we shouldn't be exploiting the fact that cops are like chasing people down, and these white people get to play cop. Evade the cops fantasy camp when like some people have to live that actual reality just by existing. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you feel? I don't personally feel that way, but I get it.
I do get it, but also, legitimate Florida men are also near the top of the police's, prey list. I do feel like they definitely, they don't get shot as much and all that, but like, they're definitely not on good terms or nothing. No. So, but yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I just think, this is what I've always loved about Florida. That's always hit for me about Florida is that like
they are
unabashedly who that Florida is always going to keep it 100 on the Florida. Like Florida's just very Florida-y. Yeah. And fuck if you like it or not. And they like fully embrace that about themselves. And
it's the most Southern thing about them.
It's always hit for me. I'm trying to find some more information about this. So I found, let's see here. These are the teams that competed. So I guess you compete in teams. And I have a list of the events, but I'm trying to find more info because this is on St. Augustine's website. So this is not the official. This is just
By the way, St. Augustine does not seem like the town to have these games in. Like, this sounds more like a Daytona or a Tampa. And I'm not
PCB.
saying and I'm not saying that St. Augustine is like the most pristine place, but like, that's where the World Golf Hall of Fame is. It's got a nice restaurant scene. It's semi-classy. It's St. Augustine.
No, I agree. I wouldn't have put them near the top of the list in terms of trashy Florida-ness. I've only ever been there once briefly, and I did a show there, and it was fun and everything.
I
But
love it.
I always thought St. Augustine was like, it's literally the oldest town in this country. So there's
Right.
it's
where the Fountain of
there's
Youth is.
some history and class and shit there.
Yeah.
As opposed to fucking Jacksonville.
I was about to say, I mean, they're not putting the world, they're not putting the World Golf Hall of Fame in Panama City Beach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason it's in St. Augustine.
So out of Gainesville, we had the Ball Busters, which was the first ever all-female team to compete at the games.
That's a great name, then.
Women could be Florida men, too. Hanky Spanky out of St. Augustine, the returning champs from 2024. This is the second annual, by the way, so they had them in 2024, and I guess Hanky Spanky won the inaugural edition of the Florida Man Games. Next up, out of Inverness, and I guess there's an Inverness in Florida, I'm assuming, and not the one we went to in Scotland. That'd be wild if some Scots came over from.
I mean, like I said, it's like the
their hillbilly country and fucking decided to throw in. But anyway, the team from Inverness is called the Cooter Commandos.
No, that's us. That's
pretty
us.
Sweet. I know. Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah,
that's legit Florida stuff there. Then next up from Jacksonville, the Storm Surge. From Fort Myers, the Screaming Eagles. From St. Augustine Beach, capital AMP, amphetamines. So leaning into the meth angle as you do. Next up, Pensacola's own Flawed Man. Flawed Man.
Yeah.
I guess maybe this is the Hispanic contingent here from Alachua County. El Diablo and the Firecrackers.
Doesn't that mean the fire and the firecrackers? No, Diablo's the devil.
That's the devil, I think.
Yeah,
El
you're
Diablo,
right.
The devil and the firecrackers. I mean, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And then from DeLand, Florida, the Red-Eyed Gator Huggers. So those are the teams there. And then let's see. It says that I'm looking at the actual website now. The defending champs last year, Hanky Spanky. Then it says these are hosts and experts in all things Florida Man. So one of the hosts is Florida comedian OMG It's Wicks. That's
white guy.
I don't know how you. Yeah. Funnily enough, no, not a white guy. This comedian. Comedian OMG It's Wicks. Yeah, I don't know how you guessed that, but yeah, let's see. And then the other one is co-host Kevin Flynn says Kevin Flynn has the meme world on lock.
Oh my God.
So yeah. So they got the evading arrest obstacle course. Floridians are chased by police after stealing copper pipes and catalytic converters.
Yep.
Find the frozen iguana and chuck a gator through a drive-through window to earn a victory and your freedom. Dude, that's literally a punchline from a joke I had about Florida. I used to say like that. You get to Florida and they're throwing alligators through drive-through windows and shit. That's all right. Goddamn. Well, weaponized.
She didn't even mention this shit.
Right. Weaponized pool noodle mud duel. So
weaponized.
Well, it looks like they take a pool noodle and they really jack it up. Like they turn it into like those big battle Q-tips from American Gladiators.
American Gladiator. Yeah.
Yeah. They take a pool noodle and I guess run a fucking stick through the middle of it, a PVC pipe or something. Then they put a bunch of shit on either end and duct tape it up so it becomes like a
weapon.
What do you call that? The thing I'm talking about from American Gladiators.
Oh,
it looks like a double-ended
baton.
I guess a baton.
Oh,
yeah.
I'll look it up. Keep going.
A battle baton, something like that. I wonder if American Gladiators came up with that.
Probably.
Oh my God, dog. Next up on the list, it's a
pugil stick. A pugil stick.
Pugil stick.
Yeah,
okay.
P-U-G. I assume that has something to do with boxing, like pugil.
Yeah, pugilist. Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways,
next one's
I'm sorry.
A pork eating competition, like a piking competition, but they have to eat. They have to eat a pork in the fastest time, and it's called the Eat the Butt Challenge.
Because we gotta go.
It's shredded pork butt, you see.
Yeah.
You get it. Next up, Florida sumo cage match and beer chug. So
something for the fattens.
Combining two things at once. It says it looks like they get in a cage with a like a pool floaty wrapped around them, and
Right.
try to and holding a pitcher of beer at the same time.
And you got to
And
drink
then
it.
they
And you
try
can't spill
to
it.
you can't spill it or get knocked down. So you try to like knock your opponent down or make them spill their beer. It says the loser can still put points on the board by chugging their opponent's remaining beer. So
Just knock them out and steal their pitcher.
Then we got Hurricane Party Prep Grocery Aisle Brawl. So it's like that. What was that old that game show from the 90s?
Yeah.
It's like a shopping cart. That ain't what
Shopping
it was called,
spree. Shopping spree.
yeah, something like that. Where you have to run through a grocery store, filling up your cart as fast as they're doing that, but with a hurricane prep item. That's the other thing too, is how
Supermarket
cavalier they
sweep.
are. Supermarket sweep. That's right.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that hits me about Florida is how cavalier they are about the natural disasters that routinely drown their statesmen and everything.
I wrote
I
this.
really do respect it. They don't give a
I do
fuck.
too. I actually wrote this to talk to you about later. I put Miami Hurricanes here because
Right.
it like occurs to me. I'm like, that's like, there's people that root for that team whose family members have died in hurricanes.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, imagine the New York 9/11s coming to town. You know what I mean?
Well, and this event here, the concept of this is like they're getting the supplies to have a hurricane party as opposed to evacuating and leaving. And it's like, yeah, we might all get swept away at said party, but at least we'll die the way we lived.
Yeah.
Drunk in this salty water. Next up, human beer pong.
That she brought that one up, but I couldn't get her to explain to me. I think they're in one of those balls, those things.
Yeah.
I think
It says Floridians always take things way too far. This is a combative Florida-sized beer pong style challenge. The stakes are high, but maybe not as high as our Floridians. Again, so there's no links or anything I can click on. I have a written description. There's one picture, so I'm doing the best I can to ascertain what these are.
You're
but
killing
yes,
it.
they're in those big. What do you call those? Those big spheres
Bubbles?
you put yourself in. Those like
Bubble Boys.
The bubbles where you can like run into each other and roll down hills and all that type of shit. They're in those, and there's like big inflatable kiddie pools filled with beer on a field. So
one of your
maybe you gotta
teammates
like
throws
get
you.
past. You got to like get past your opponent and get into one of their beer
Knock
pools.
them out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming, but
What's the death toll for this game?
Yeah,
these games
not high enough. I'm assuming, for them, the more it would hit for them. I think
if people died, that'd be a badge of honor.
Right? It would, bigger PR. They'd have a hell of a funeral the next year. An in memoriam section and stuff. That people could get tattoos, airbrush T-shirts, decals. So yeah.
I wonder how many gallons of paint a year are used just on in memoriam airbrush T-shirts.
Yeah,
fair amount.
Good question. Fair amount, especially in Florida.
Also, who do you think does that more, black people or rednecks? Because that's another way in which we overlap.
It is very much. That's an overlapping area. I don't know, dude. That I hard to call that one. In my opinion,
people. In my opinion, black people have the like family reunion shirt. They're clear winners in that one. You know what I mean? But as far as like the in memoriam airbrush T-shirt or bumper sticker or like car decal redneck. I mean, now granted, this is anecdotal because I live in a redneck place, so I see them with rednecks more.
I say also, if you define it as just airbrush T-shirts of any kind, I think it's clearly rednecks. Are the vector, I think, because it's not just. Dude, you go to like Myrtle Beach or any of these places, they got all kinds of
I got 3 in my closet
set up and stuff. Yeah, where it's like they don't have to be in memoriam is a popular
mine is
choice.
an in memoriam,
right? But there's also, like 2 dolphins hugging in front of a rainbow, and it's like an anniversary shirt, or like 2, teenage white trash girls' best friend shirt, or that type of thing. You get them to commemorate the trip.
That's true.
You get like your initials and some dolphins and shit, and it's like Myrtle Beach spring break 2025 type thing.
I wonder how that economy, like if they're making the same amount of those as they used to, or if it's gone down. You know, probably down because of Etsy, but well, like individual shops may be down, but overall, maybe there's more being made. Fuck, I don't know.
I don't know. I would like to
Never goes out of style. That's the thing is like they're timeless.
Mm-hmm. The final challenge, it says Florida Woman bonus challenge. All it says is some of the best Florida man headlines are actually Florida woman stories. We'll definitely leave you with something to talk about after this one. So I don't know if that's like a story thing where they find the best like Florida woman, you know, like I don't know. They get on stage and tell this the wildest Florida woman shit I've ever done. They pick a winner or something. I don't know. I'm purely guessing, but they also have set up at the Florida Man Games. If you're not a contestant, you don't have to just spectate. They also offer some other amenities. They have the Ninja Nation obstacle course, right?
Oh, so it's like Wipeout.
Yeah, but a small mobile version, which that was a great idea. Whoever came up with that, load that up in a truck and take it around all the trashiest parts of the country. It's pretty rad. And then you can ride a mechanical gator, which I assume they've just repurposed a mechanical bull, right? They just put a gator head on a mechanical bull, but it's still pretty sweet. They of course have axe throwing.
You ever done a mechanical bull?
Yeah, yes, I have in Nashville, and it's like you realize when you're like that.
I can't do this.
Yeah. That don't hit for nobody. Well, it ain't even that part. It's just that no one wants that to happen. All those bars that have those set up in there, it's for drunk chicks to get on it.
Yeah,
and you know,
show their titties.
So when you're like a fucking 23-year-old frat bro with a fucking chin strap, you're like, oh fuck, leave me a shot at that thing. Like everyone involved is like, oh, god damn it. So they crank it up real fast and throw your ass off there as quick as they possibly can, at least in my experience.
I can't believe this show never got made, but one of my proudest moments in the industry is that me and Mark got Game Show Network. We made them pay for a mechanical bull to put in a studio just so we could do a run through of our pitch of a game show. And some bitch threw me off. You know, I had to sign a paper and everything, but they're wild. They're and it's harder than you'd think.
No, it definitely is harder than you think, especially if you're hammered fucking drunk.
Yeah.
Let's see a couple other things they have. I said they have axe throwing there and they also have a Ocala knocker ball.
That sounds like Ichiro Suzuki's cousin.
Ocala knocker ball. Yeah. It's I think it's just soccer, but everybody who's playing the soccer game is in one of those bubble things. So you
like Rocket League with people, like you know what I mean, like you're the vehicle.
And then they got a jousting pool, a big inflatable kiddie pool where they give you those pugil sticks, those jury rigged pugil sticks, and I think you just try to whoop each other's ass and see who survives.
Right.
Let's see, they got a wrestling event here. Maybe let's see if you're familiar with it. It says Hatchet Pro Wrestling presents.
I know. That's why Rebel.
Is that why she was there?
She was with those people. Yeah.
That
makes
show
sense.
was called State of Emergency is the name of the show they did.
I didn't. It's funny because she didn't mean. I don't know if she was wrestling there or whatever, but I had said something like, I said, "Fuck, we need to do an event there next year." I said, "Surely there's a wrestling company around there." She said, "Yeah, Hatchet Pro Wrestling runs out of there," but she didn't mention that they were doing shit.
Yeah, well, they don't just have Hatchet Pro Wrestling. They also have, you guessed it, midget wrestling at the annual Florida. Yeah, of course. The Midget Wrestling Warriors Reborn Tour invades the Florida Man Games. So, yeah.
I mean, this sounds like a fucking hell of a time, frankly.
They got a Ripley Sideshow act, and they got Gator shows. So, I mean.
Of course.
I mean, no, I agree. It does sound. I don't know how you could go to that and not have fun.
Right? I don't. Yeah, no.
You'd have to really go out of your way to not have a good time at some fucking shit like that. In my opinion,
I think I could see Mark walking around with a scowl the whole time. Yeah. You know? Nah, I'd hit for him.
Yeah, he could find a way to make a hit just by hating on it or whatever. That should be an easy thing to make hit, though. Not some things are hard to make hit. For example, a website. A website's hard to make hit. That's right. This here episode of our podcast is sponsored by Squarespace. That's right. Squarespace is the all-in-one website platform designed to help you stand out and succeed online. Whether you're just starting out or scaling your business, Squarespace gives you everything you need to claim your domain, showcase your offerings with a professional website, grow your brand, and get paid all in one place. That's why websites can be daunting. I know, because I've had them ever since I started comedy. Even when I was just doing like open mics at like swinger bars and stuff, I was like, well, I gotta have a website. You
have to.
Now I genuinely do, but even back then I was like, I got to have a website. And it's like, so I tried to build a website, and it ain't easy. At least it wasn't back then, but Squarespace makes it easy. It's so easy that even a complete dumbass like me, somebody who's just as computer dumb as they come, can figure out how to use it. Not just figure it out, but make it hit. In fact, it's very user friendly. It's very intuitive the way it works. I got all these great templates and great features on there that make it as easy as possible. But it's not just about like website building. You can also, like, you can have a content library. You can have merch on there. You can do all kinds of good stuff. Joe, do you want to tell them about some of the things Squarespace offers?
It's great, especially if you're idiots like us, because otherwise you have to like use code to build a website. And like, I don't know about y'all, but anytime letters get into math, I'm out. Can't do it. But yeah, Squarespace makes it super easy. Also, like Trae said, if you want to sell stuff on there, you can get paid on time with their professional on-brand invoices, online payments. Streamline your entire workflow with, it's got built-in appointment scheduling. Also, this might sound odd to some people, you might not know what I'm talking about, but like SEO, that's a big deal when it comes to like promoting your brand. It's search engine optimization, and you got to have it, even though I don't know what it is, but they have SEO tools to make everything super easy. It makes it real simple to showcase your expertise, engage with your clients, put your video content up that, add a paywall, make smarter business decisions with Squarespace's intuitive built-in analytics tools. You can review your traffic. You can see what works, what don't work. Here's what you need to do. Head to squarespace.com/WellRED for a free trial. And then when you're ready to launch, use the offer code WellRED to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/WellRED for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code WellRED to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Squarespace, do it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, man, I don't know. I can't believe that I cannot find results anywhere.
Right. I wanted to see a video.
They just happened 3 days ago, but still, like, all the websites and stuff is all about like buying tickets and what's gonna happen and everything. I can't find anything about
they're
who
all
won
recovering. I'd say nobody's
the outcome or whatever. I mean, I could try to see here on YouTube here, Florida Man Games.
There's no telling what. No telling what's going to come up here.
I mean, it's like news.
Man, don't hit how
news
how
pieces.
Is there not cell phone footage of people?
Yeah,
it's blowing my mind. Well, whatever. We gotta go. That sounds like something that we should be sponsored to go to. One of our, maybe Squarespace will send us, or somebody like WellRED needs to be involved in that. Maybe we should set up a show in St. Augustine next year, just to go to the Florida Man game. I don't know if I would want to compete. I think I would
say, put a team together. No, I blow my knees out or something.
I was about to say, dude, like, I'm not.
Also, I know who I am. I ain't got it like that. I'm not going to front like I could compete with actual meth heads and cop evasion games and stuff.
You take me 8-10 years ago, put me on some gear, sure, maybe. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not saying I'd win, but I'm saying I think I could put on a showing. But like right now, dude, no. Like dude, my wrist is fucked up right now. Do you know why?
Mm-mm.
Wow. I slept like this. I slept like that.
It'd be like that.
It's been fucked up for like a week, Yeah. And it's like, I just slept like that. Like,
no, I mean, y'all know a few weeks ago, I couldn't hardly walk just because I went for a jog too far and too early. And it finally got better. But dude, I was like during that too, because also the way I am, especially as I get older, like when my legs were all fucked up and I was like, this cannot be just from taking, this is crazy. Something else. I kept thinking about, you remember old boy in fucking Tiger King who walked his legs off? Yeah. You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
I kept thinking about that motherfucker. I was like, I know you can do it. You can walk your legs off. Like, what if I,
that
what
guy,
if I know, but I was
He
like,
was
you know,
geared
if
out
it,
of his
if
head.
it could happen to anybody, you know.
Yeah, it could happen to you. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. It's just like go to the doctor. It's like, unfortunately, you've walked your legs off. It's like, I don't even walk that much, you know. And it's like,
Damn,
well,
you've
you
just
found a
scared
way.
me because
Yeah,
I
you
do
walk
be
all the time.
I walk a ton.
Look, as we both alluded to, I'm pretty sure that there might be
A needle involved.
some other aspects or elements of that particular story from Tiger King about the old boy walking his legs off. But either way, that's what I mean. That's a wild. I mean, I get it's funny to think that's like he came up with that because the real answer is fucked
was
up
too
or something.
embarrassing.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, too embarrassing. And then
I
also
him off.
I just walked him off, and then everybody's like, well, shit. You
guess
walked
you
your
did.
legs off, sure did.
That's why I don't do that. I don't
my
walk.
mama ate her legs off. You know, sugar
Had
took
too much sugar on them. Yeah, lick that stump, boy, still sweet. Yeah.
It's funny, and I'm sure they talked about it in the documentary, but like that, like working with and around tigers professionally while not having legs. And, you know, so it's like everyone just assumes 100%. Well, I know what happened there. And it's like, yep, walked them smooth off. It's
You'd
like,
be wrong.
That is not where I thought that was going. Maybe he did get mauled by a tiger, and Joe Exotic's like, don't you dare let this get out. You better come up with something. You walked him off.
And it better not be stupid. All right, well, if I say...
I walked my legs off.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Right there. You got it. Hell.
You can see that happening, right?
Yeah. Way more believable than one of my tigers. No, I just keep forgetting. Like, I have such bad ADD.
Is it that you keep forgetting, or is it like, is it not? I mean, Cho interviewed Joe Exotic on the phone from prison like a while ago now, and he keeps not putting it out, and he keeps saying, it's like, I keep meaning to, I just keep forgetting. And I keep wondering, it's like, is there something bad about it?
No, I don't think so. I haven't watched it back since. Like, I showed you that one clip from it because I remembered it like a month ago, and I made this clip because I was like, I'm going to make this clip and I'm going to put the thing out. I swear on God, dude, like, people think, it's like, is your ADD really that bad? Yes. My ADD is so bad that I can continuously forget that I interviewed the Tiger King from prison. I can totally forget. Like, I just keep forgetting.
Well, now that we're sitting here talking about it having happened, like, what do you remember about the actual interview? Like, can you give us any kind of highlights or any impressions or any, like, I don't mean do an impression of him. I mean, impression you got of him and his situation, or just any of that.
I remember one of the things I came to him on was like, he was obviously on there talking about Trump this and Trump. He's a big Trump guy or whatever. And so I pushed him on, like, you know, why do you still fuck with this guy? Like, you were so in your brain, it was like, Trump's going to get elected and he's going to pardon me. And I was like, and he didn't do that. And like, I was like, your whole Twitter existence is talking about how Trump needs to pardon you. And I was like, how can you like that guy when you thought he was on your team and he didn't do that? And like, he just said a whole bunch of nonsense that didn't, you know, I was just like, he just kept pushing it away. And he was like, well, no, it's not, Trump was going to pardon me, but like, there was a list, you know, and then they just lost the list. And I think I wanted to be like,
the list.
And I wanted to be like, so he forgot about you, right?
Yeah.
It's like, he completely forgot about you. And he wanted to make it act like it was like, it's not that simple of a process. And I was like, I don't know. It kind of seems like they just go, you're out, you know? But like, a lot of the first part of the interview was just him talking about, I remember this one thing. I was like, so you're in jail for murder for hire. Like, you hired a person to kill Carol Bath. He's like, nope, that's not what I'm in jail for. Which, like, if you look it up, it's like, that's 100% what he's in jail for. But he's like, no, he's like, I'm in here on some trumped up charges for some he said, she said stuff. And I'm like, I don't think that's how the court, you know, works or whatever.
Right.
And then we got interrupted.
That's just him framing what you already said in the way that he presents the information.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. It's almost like
he's a fucking maniac.
Meth head. Yeah. Maniac. Yeah. The whole thing. But you know, what's really funny is like this dude's crazy. He's not a good dude. But when I was talking to him, like, he's got our accent, you know, and I'm used to talking to people with accents in jail because my uncle, and he just reminded me so much of my uncle that like there was part of me that was like, I hope this motherfucker gets out. You know what I mean? Or like I started to sort of believe him because we sort of speak the same language. But I don't know, man. Like it was just really, it was really weird. And we had to talk in 2 15-minute increments because he only gets 15 minutes at a time and he had to go back to the yard or whatever. But like, I definitely did not leave this conversation believing anything different about the man. I can tell you that much right now. And I think he just wanted to talk.
Did you talk about the tigers or anything? Do you know what happened? They might have covered that in the documentaries, and I just don't remember because I don't even know if I ever watched that follow-up documentary. But like,
I didn't.
Did his tigers come up? Is he worried about his tigers? Does he know what his tigers are? Did he pass his tigers off?
I'm gonna have to put this bitch out.
Custody away, I assume.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put this bitch out because I don't even remember that. I remember that we mainly I tried not to ask him anything that I knew from the doc. Obviously, I was mainly asking him about prison life or whatever. I was like, so what's it? You know, I remember one time I was like, what's it like for like a dude like you who's famous being in prison? And then he just went off on this tangent of just like they gave me lice. You know what I mean? Like I got lice or something like that. And you know, you won't believe it, but I guarantee you this. The total amount of words, I said 5% of them. He said 95% of them. Like, because I mean, you know, we had 30 minutes, so I kind of would just ask a question and then shut up,
let him
and
go.
He would and then the next thing I know, it's like, fuck, we got 2 minutes left, you know. But I was just like, you know, I mean, people already hear me. I'm just gonna let this guy talk. So like, I don't think we solved anything, but you know, it was fun to talk to the guy, you know. But I need to rewatch it again because I don't. This was months ago, dude. Like I know.
I feel like it might have even been a year ago or something. Like,
dude, maybe it was. I don't know. Maybe it was. Like, all I remember is I was drunk and I saw that Joe Exotic followed me and liked one of my tweets, and I just fucking messaged him. I was like, "Can we talk?" And he was like, "Yeah, whatever. You know, absolutely." And then we set it up, and I talked to him from prison, and then just forgot like a lunatic. Because in my brain, I was like, this is going to really drive people to the Patreon. You know?
Yeah.
And just didn't do anything.
You know what I realized? Like I was saying, wonder what happened to his tigers. What I assume happened is, you know, they came in and rescued the tigers. But my understanding of how stuff like that works is like,
euthanize them.
Do what? Well, I don't think they would do that to a tiger, but I might be wrong. But you can't. What you can't do is just send them over to India and push them out of a truck or whatever,
because they're domestic now,
right? So you can't put them back in the wild. So what I think normally they do is I think there's a few different legitimate like sanctuaries around. One of which
like Doc Antle.
Yeah, right. But did he do? Was his a legitimate sanctuary, or was he doing some like money making shit with it too?
I'm pretty sure he was doing some nefarious stuff. You know, it's fucking crazy how that documentary had us all by the balls, and hell, we even did a fucking recap on the whole thing. And I have a notebook back here that I found the other day that's called Tiger by the Tail. Is when we did. I was trying to play ipso facto showrunner on the thing, and I have an entire like three subject Mead notebook filled. Like the whole thing is filled with Tiger King notes. I've retained nothing. I got nothing. Like that was it. It was 5 years ago, which is crazy.
Well, yeah, dude. I've just on a larger note. I don't remember fucking anything anymore from movie. I watch so many different shows and everything. I don't know. I guess I'm chalking it up to that and binge watching and just fucking attention spans and phones and all of it, just getting older. All of that is combined to where like I'll watch something and love it, but I remember like the headlines of what it's about or what happened. But it's like gone. I mean, in no time. Like Severance, season 2 of Severance is airing right now. I'm still not caught back up because I let some episodes build up first, but I also rewatched season 1. And it came out 3 years ago, and I love that show. And again, a lot of big things about it I remember, but there's so many things rewatching season 1 that I was like, oh, fuck, right. I forgot all about it.
Yeah, well, that show is, it's I know, but I'm like that way.
I'm like that with literally everything, though. So it's like, and I feel like I didn't used to be. I feel like when I was a kid, when I was younger, it's like I would watch something and then I could like talk about specifics of it for like pretty much ever after that. If it hit
Yeah.
for me, I mean, and now
I mean,
don't.
I feel
don't
like
remember
if me and
shit.
you, I feel like if me and you, not that we're going to, but if we started talking about Downton Abbey, that me and you could get into the intricate plot lines and all this stuff or whatever. Because yeah, maybe our brains were just more sponges then, and we're older now, and our kids are old. You know, your kids are older. I have a child. Like, I don't retain anything.
But either way, all I was going to say is that's who you want to be in the tiger world. I feel like, because one thing that documentary showed to me is
get you a free tiger.
Some people are just tiger fucking people, bro. Like some people,
nobody dabbles. You don't dabble.
No, right. You get immersed in that shit. And if you are a tiger person, that's what you want to try to get into is either working at, if not fully operating, some kind of sanctuary.
Yes.
So people send you tiger, like you said, you get a free tiger. You get sent tigers,
right? And you
just get to have them. Nobody's going to take your tigers away
because
you're not a profiteering maniac. It's a sanctuary. Right. But you know, I'm sure that's easier said than done. You probably got to come from like a sanctuary family. You know, you probably can't just start up a tiger sanctuary, I would imagine.
Well,
out of nowhere.
I don't know.
I mean, I know you can start a tiger. If you can just get your hands on some tigers, you can start a tiger business.
But you're right. A sanctuary, and that's like probably a different government form.
It's got to be like licensed and shit. Yeah, right. It's like
you can't just say this is a sanctuary, like
because a lot of people, you know, you'll see TikTok videos and stuff sometimes with somebody like wrestling around in a lovey-dovey, very cuddly way with like a tiger or a lynx or something like that. Yeah, and it's always like, you know, how do I make this happen? And always in the comments stuff, it's like, well, this is from noted big cat sanctuary.
Yeah.
And it's like, and so, you know, they don't sell tickets or nothing because then they wouldn't be a sanctuary. Right. That's what's fucked up. But so the only way, it's similar to, I remember reading once on Reddit that if you work in a Frito-Lay factory, you can get like fresh Cheetos hot off the line, like literally hot off the line, hot, fresh baked Cheetos. And there's no other way on earth to experience that other than working at that factory. I'm sure if your golf buddies with the CEO of Frito-Lay, he can hook it up. But if you're just a regular person, you'll never experience that. You can't buy a tour or you can't
imagine?
Get a VIP pass. I know. As soon as I heard that, I was like, I wish I'd never learned this. I'm going to live the rest of my life. It's like Quaalude's been gone.
Yes,
dude.
that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, it's like just knowing no matter what, I can never even try it. Suits me so clearly, right? Well, it's like it's that way with like cuddling a big cat in a sanctuary too. You can't just do it. You got to be in the game, and that's just unfair to the rest of us, you know. But that's what got us and Joe Exotic into this whole mess in the first place. Is people wanting to do that anyway. So
this is the second time I've thought about Quaaludes this week. By the way, I thought about them because you know. I don't know if you of course you saw. We had a whole thing about it. Steak and Shake, and now there's a couple other fast food places that are doing the beef tallow, right, instead of seed oil, which right on its just that alone is a good thing and like should not be controversial or crazy. But the reason that it is because it was RFK's idea, which, like, you know, a fucking broken clock is right twice a goddamn day. You know what I mean? And the reason I'm so excited about it is because, like, for my whole life, and I know your whole life too, like, McDonald's fries still hit, and they're still like, which is crazy that they're still they've just got such good PR. Like, they're still the benchmark of like, oh, McDonald's fries, even though, like, dude, Checkers fries bodies their ass, but like McDonald's fries, it's like, oh, some people just go there just for the fries. And for my whole life, my mom, my dad, every other old person has been like, but y'all don't even know though. Like the reason that McDonald's still has that is because when everything used to be cooked in beef tallow, like they legitimately, again, it's night and day. Like you think these are good. They used to be unbelievable and people would just go for them and whatever. And I've heard that and it's always pissed me off that I've never been able to get that from McDonald's. And now I'm like, to me, it's always been like Quaaludes. It's like it's this thing that everybody from the 80s talks about that was so magic, and now I don't get it. And now it's back. But unfortunately, it's back, and all these companies can't just be like, we're doing beef tallow. They're also like online retweeting the White House, like, we're making fries great again, and like making it all gross and shitty or whatever. But like, this is like it's to me, me and Mark had a big argument about it. And I was like, because I was like, undoubtedly, in my opinion, the reason this is happening is because RFK for a year and a half has been talking about we need to cook shit in beef tallow again, right? Not saying that it's like he came up with the idea that things should be healthier, but like he put it back out into the atmosphere and now it's happening. And I just I hate that I can't celebrate it without looking like I support RFK and the Trump administration. You know what I mean? Because this does hit.
Right. Yeah. And his whole, and well, we ain't got to get into, we ain't got to relitigate all that, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm fine with just being right silently.
Yeah. Where, before, when it just got announced they were switching back to beef tallow.
Mark called me a Nazi because I wanted to eat beef tallow fries, basically.
Not quite literally, but when they first announced they were going back to beef tallow, Joe was like, look, fuck Trump, obviously, but this hits. And he was like, fuck Trump and RFK or whatever, but this hits.
Yeah.
And Mark's initial reaction to it was like, he's like, you ain't even got to give them credit for this type of shit. He's like, what, you really think that they're dictating what these companies do? You know,
to which
he's
I
like,
said no.
Right.
I said, no, I don't. I said, I think they just put it back in the atmosphere.
Right. You were like, no, I don't think that they did. I don't think it's a mandate from them. I'm saying, I think if they weren't on this little crusade, this wouldn't be happening. Right. And
it wouldn't.
And Mark was just basically like, oh yeah, no, hell, everything's their fault, whatever. And I don't remember the other examples he gave. But then the next day, Steak and Shake, the company itself, literally tweeted at RFK, hey, good call on this beef tallow stuff, or however they put it, you know. And I was like, look at that, Trae coming through in the clutch. What do you think about that, Mark? And of course, he was
like, you're still wrong.
Yeah, wouldn't let the man have it. Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's his own personal mandate.
I just don't see what we're solving here by not like, dude, fuck them, fuck them, fuck them. They suck. But like acting like something that was taken away 40 years ago and never brought up again until like by anybody in that corporate structure. And then RFK's like, you know what we should do? And it becoming popular and everybody say, and then this company I know they're only doing it because that's the way the wind blows. But the reason that the wind's blowing that way is because of RFK. So therefore, RFK is the reason that they're doing beef tallow fries. Fuck him. But this hits. This one thing hits.
There's a lot of there's so many things that are clearly the way the wind's blowing type reactionary moves from big companies and stuff. And the beef tallow one, I agree, it hits. Not all of these hit, obviously, but it's all over the place right now. Is my point. Yeah, right. It's like I just saw yesterday, and of course the companies in question would deny any of these being related. The ones I'm going to bring up, but like, so Disney Plus canceled a already in progress Tiana series. They
is that the princess from The Princess and the Frog?
The only black Disney princess.
That movie hit. Everybody liked that. Why is that woke?
They also. Not only did they, I don't know what series this is for. I just know that in some series they had planned there was going to be a transgender character in it, and they took that character out of the series and replaced them with a churchy Christian character.
Okay, you series. Ain't got to fucking go completely 180.
Yeah, and then like the NFL took the words "end racism" out of the end zone, and
well, that's because it's over. Like that. They did. I know
they fixed it. I know. Yeah.
Well, they had
also.
They
it's
had
like a lot of these things. Like the NFL one specifically is also the whole time they had that. I was always kind of like, oh, okay.
What do you guys do? Yeah, right.
Yeah, like all right. Thanks NFL. Appreciate you guys pointing that out. Oh, now you're right. Now that you've put it in the end zone, you're right. I guess we will end racism. And I always thought it was kind of stupid, but there's all kinds of. A lot of companies are jettisoning their.
What if they replaced it with continue racism? That'd be something.
Yeah, that's next season. Whatever it's Trump's America ramps up. They go from that. Yeah, it would be funny, and I mean, no, it wouldn't hit, but but yeah, it's just happening all over the place. So with the companies doing the beef tallow thing, of course, it's one of them. And I get a company like Steak and Shake being at least the first that I'm aware of to hop on that because
they're losing a bunch. They've been losing stores over the past couple of years. So
right. It's like their market cap has got to be pretty low. And look, I like Steak and Shake. I do too. Fuck with them, but I'm saying
their fries
they're not
were good before.
They're not up there. They super hitting fries.
Yeah,
some of the best yellow in the game, by the way.
Oh my God. I bet they're fire now.
I know, right? I agree. But I'm saying, a company like that, you got to take some swings. And it's because I think they realize it's like there's probably a lot of fat queers out there who will love this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though it is in opposition to wokeness, and it's like, well, you pegged me,
but that's
peg this fat queer because I am pretty excited about it.
But that's the fucked up thing,
and it's like vegans, dude. They're vegans eating at fucking Steak and Shake anyway.
No, and see, I didn't even think about that part of it. Honestly,
that's like I don't know how big of a part of it that is from the company's perspective, but like vegans will not eat those fries.
Well, of course not. But obviously that's true. But like in my brain, like I literally was just going like, I know that like pure beef tallow, like if you look, pure beef tallow is much better than having 19 other ingredients with all this like I wasn't even thinking about it from the vegan point of view, but it's so shitty to me that like it has to be a woke versus not woke thing, and it upsets me so much. This is what really pisses me off, is that someone out there can't be both for beef tallow and measles vaccinations. Like, why in the fuck? It's like whenever they propose one of those goddamn bills through Congress, and everybody's like, why did everybody vote no on this? And it's like, well, you just saw the title. You don't know what else was in this fucking bill. It's like, just make a thing, one fucking like, why? Why? Like now, like if I eat, I'm like, yes, beef tallow fries are good. Everybody's like, oh, really? So you think that trans people should be erased? I'm like, what? What are you? No, just this thing, just this one thing. Like, why can't there be either a Republican that has some sense or a Democrat that has some fucking balls? Why can't one of those things exist? You know?
Yeah, I don't know, baby, because nothing hits.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
Hope is a lie and only the darkness is real.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. It does seem to be the main thing, but I agree, at least as we ride off into the sunset of our existence, we can do so chowing down on some hitting new beef tallow French fries.
I'm probably going to go get some tonight. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. I mean, is it already in place? Like they've got them everywhere?
People have been posting pictures. Yeah.
Well, you need to, I think you need to go try some and report back. I'm definitely.
Man, if I get there and they don't hit.
I just don't see how that's even possible.
See how they can't. Right. Because again, their fries already hit.
They hit already.
That
one change. If anything, I would think it might be like.
It's not as good as you thought.
Right. And it's like, there's like a placebo effect where you're like, God, these are otherworldly. And it's like, they're just kind
fine.
Of, it's not that much of an improvement, but everybody wants it to be so much. I would anticipate that result way more.
But I mean, they're still going to hit for them.
But they're still going to hit. Yes.
Yeah, dude, they're still going to hit. Yeah, I mean, again, like I know, like as someone who be using beef tallow and other stuff, like I can tell you, beef tallow
does hit.
All
right. Well, you know what else hits? Coming to comedy shows and stuff. Laugh your woes away. Well, not completely away. Just whatever. Just come
for
laugh.
A minute.
Hits. Yeah, for a laugh. But this weekend, I'll be in Minneapolis at the Mall of America at the House of Comedy in there. And then after that, I got a big run through the Northeast, including the Wilbur in Boston. That's a big one. Nice. So y'all come to that. That, New Hampshire, Binghamton, New York, and then not too far, and then Austin, Texas, and then Arkansas. And then April 11th and 12th, I'll be in Knoxville with Drew and Chattanooga with Cho. And then I have a ton more dates after that too, but we'll stop there for now. Just go to TraeCrowder.com, check out my upcoming sked, and come see me, make it hit.
Hey, March 20th, my ass is going to be at the Punchline in Atlanta with my good buddies, Good Cop, Rad Cop. That's March 20th in Atlanta. I'm doing my new hour set to record hopefully later this year. Get those tickets at CoreyRyanForrester.com. I am adding a couple more, but even if you're in the general vicinity of Atlanta, come see me. One show only. So grab them tickets, CoreyRyanForrester.com. WeLoveCorey.com for all my bonus stuff. Please listen to Putting on Airs. That is me and Trae's other podcast that super hits. This week we will be talking about the Oscars and how stupid they are, and also how fun they are, and all that type of shit. I think that's it. Do we have anything else?
I don't think so.
Thank you all for listening to the WellRED Show. We'd love to stick around longer, but we got to go. Tune in next week if you got nothing to do. Thank you. God bless you. Good night and skew.
Putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. We collected from our love of Downton Abbey. We collected, we found out we're both so fancy. Hey, what's the difference between rednecks and royal families? Only money, cause they both have sex with family. Ew. Putting on airs. What other rednecks to talk about foreign affairs? Laughing so hard that we end up falling out our chairs. Sir Trae, Sir Corey, oh what a pair. High class topics with a redneck flair. Oh yeah. Two rednecks but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. Two rednecks but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. Okay, it's Team Squirrel or Team Trae. Oh yeah, we keeping it basic. He thinks that the squirrels at Corey's mom's house are racist. And you know squirrels live in the same place for generations. So Trae, you better count your days and you better count your blessings. Cause all the squirrels that you ran over, that you think are nameless, faceless, their families are getting together and plotting on you from the attic and basement. So even though Corey is dumb, fat, and bald, he knows how to avoid drama, don't get squirrels involved. Two rednecks, but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. Two rednecks, but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs.